Hi, it's Joy, and today we're watching Heartstopper Season 3, Episode 7, Together. This is the penultimate episode of the season, but I like the sound of Together, so we'll see how it goes. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go.
How are you and Charlie?
Good. Yeah. Charlie's been a lot better these days.
And how's Nick doing these days?
Fine.
Just need to remember to look after yourself too.
Exactly. Good advice,
I still think
sweetheart.
journaling's really...
Cucumbers and condoms.
We both want to take things further, but...
We did not do this at school. We did have someone demonstrating on a banana at the front of the class. It was wonderful.
5 years.
What did he say?
Even after that, we still had a lot to learn about each other.
Yeah.
And what feels
Also,
good.
it's meant to be
Maybe
fun.
we get things wrong, just laugh about it. I mean, it's supposed to be fun, isn't it?
Exactly.
I think I should be running this sex ed lesson.
We like had like a person in to do a talk about HIV and things, and they played us a version of the song Hey There Delilah, but it was Hey There Chlamydia, my life's been shit since I had. It was literally this whole like parody of Hey There Delilah that was Hey There Chlamydia, and now I love the song Hey There Delilah, but ever since I was 17 I hear it and I think Hey There Chlamydia. Schools can scar you.
They decided not to air it, actually.
That sucks.
At least it wasn't live. Like, I'm glad they're covering this stuff because it is important and it is what's happening in this stupid fucking country. At least, like, the right-wing half of it is stupid. But at the same time, I like when I keep going off this house flipper, Jesus Christ. Heartstopper is, like, a slightly kind of just nice, separate bubble away from the horrible realities, but the truth is, we don't live in that bubble. The world continues.
Should have expected it.
No, you shouldn't.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
You need to, darling, when you're ready. Are they ready? Whatever they are ready for, I support them.
Oh, have you?
Don't come in! Fuck off!
Sorry.
He was not meant to be home, I'm taking it.
Sorry.
I just adore how open and honest they are with each other about everything.
Anything I could do to make you feel better?
Just being there, together.
I've just decided I'm going to look after myself and do what I want.
Good.
There are a lot of younger students who would find it inspiring to see you as head boy. That's all.
I'll think about it. Promise.
Maybe some teachers that are just so fiercely proud of you, and he's thinking of himself. I knew he was thinking of himself. Jesus Christ.
Should we,
It's like I saw a headline that was something like watching Heartstopper, I can't remember what it was. It's like it was like obviously somebody who was older, but say I feel like by watching it they were giving their younger self the childhood coming out experience they deserved, surrounded by such a beautiful group of friends that like they didn't have at the time because things were harder, and like watching this kind of healed some of that, and like it's what it's doing. The younger generation is brilliant. Not all of them, some of them are pricks, but
He just can't properly understand.
we can try. But
I'll ask her when she's in a good mood.
That doesn't happen very often.
It's not really much.
okay, so they do, at least at Tori's school, at the girls' school, sixth form is co-ed, because that's what it was like at my sixth form. So these sixth formers were in uniforms. I almost feel like they just put them in uniforms because it was like so much easier to explain to an American audience that yes, we just wear uniforms in the UK. Because I don't think I've heard of a single sixth form that wears a uniform. And we had to wear, like I said, when I was younger, sixth formers could just wear whatever they wanted as long as it was smart. And then the year before I became a sixth former, we had to wear suits. But you could still wear like, it wasn't a uniform. I wonder if it's like because American audiences wouldn't get why suddenly like Nick was in his own clothes. Like that would be weird.
Point in her banning
Or are
sleepovers.
there schools that have
If
it
you
the
and
whole
Nick
way
want
through?
to have sex, then I hope you do get to have your sex sleepover.
Thank you.
Michael, can you stop talking about my brother having sex? Please.
Sorry.
He's being a support. We like that.
Yeah, Charlie's been through a lot.
You've been through a lot too, Nick. Don't forget that.
Yeah, well, not really though.
You have.
Non-binary.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's not a huge deal.
It's just you.
Unless you want it to be.
Exactly.
It's just you.
Hmm.
It's just me.
This seems really nice. Because his parents aren't bad, they're just not always the best at. They try, but they don't always succeed.
I really like that one.
Has he already asked his dad?
Oh.
I'm not saying no. It's just you have your GCSE exams coming up, and this is quite a big step.
And I'm mentally ill, so I can't.
No, that's not what I said.
That's what you were thinking.
I mean, parents, I mean, it's quite clear what this day paper would be for. Parents, it's a big deal to accept that your kid is old enough and wanting to, but the fact that he is asking and he's not kind of trying to be like, oh, Nick's gonna help me study. Yeah, he's gonna help me study because he did GCSEs last year, so he's gonna give me all the tips on how he studied. Yeah, like he's just kind of saying like, we'd like to sleep over, please. Like, I think that is a really big, important step that he's not sort of trying to hide the intention here. And also, Charlie is 16. That is the legal age of consent in the UK. Not that I think if, Nick was like, like Nick is only like 17. It's fine. But like, there's nothing there to worry about. Kids are going to do it, and it's probably. I mean, you don't want to know all the details, but good for the parent to be aware that that step is being taken. So then if Charlie does seem upset afterwards, you might be like, I need to comfort, I need to like figure out what happened there. Like, I don't know.
What are you so worried about? We all love Nick. Tori, I'm not. You know what? We'll talk about this once your exams are over, Charlie.
I'm not a child.
You are though,
If I want to see
Charlie.
my boyfriend, then I will. You can't stop me.
I mean, you're not a child, you're not a little child, but you're still her child, and I think that's her biggest stumbling block here is her little baby trying to be all grown up. She does not handle things well, even though her heart, I do believe, is in the right place.
You okay?
Obviously not. This is really sweet. Really lovely.
That's how I see you.
It's just love.
Feels like the whole world is against me.
You always talk to me about it.
Just a really, really loud
Yeah.
minority, I have to hope. Hey! So sorry. That's my university. Was not expecting it. It was a bit of a jump scare. So I'm like, I have no idea where they are based. Like, I've been trying to work this out for the longest time to know, like, I'm guessing, were either of those local to him, or were they both far away and they're the ones he wants to go to, but they're far from Charlie? Like, I have no idea where they are based in the country. I can't place it. Like, I'd say sort of middly, which probably would mean they are both fairly far away. Leeds seemed to be the one he really liked the look of because it had the rugby and everything. I think there's rugby at most unis, but...
Nick, please don't leave me behind.
It's okay to be struggling. And like I said, in an ideal world, Nick could get to choose his university choice based purely on the one that he wants to go to, that appeals to him the most. And he wouldn't have to worry about anybody else in that decision, because nobody should be forced to make big life decisions based on somebody else's needs and desires. But when you're in a relationship, that can be different. There can be times where you will be happier if you do what is best for your partner as well, because it's what's best for you in the same way. But they're so young. And, I think it will be hard on Charlie if Nick moves away to uni and is far. But they live in the era of Discord and texting all the time and phone calls, and they can still see each other a lot and spend time together. And you know, it's not the same as being able to see them and hold them, but they can still spend so much time together. I mean, my best friend is Canadian, like one of them, she lives in Canada, and we met on Tumblr, and we've met in person a few times now. Like, I've been to Canada, she's been here a few times, and it's devastating every time we have to say goodbye because it's better when you're together. But I talk to her literally every day on, like, we text every day, and then anytime we are both around, we're on Discord together. So like, you can still have that super close relationship with someone that matters to you. And even like one of my other best friends moved to a different part of the UK, and so we talk on Discord whenever we can. So like, you can still be really present with people in the modern era, even if you aren't physically together, and it'll be okay. And sort of Nick's having a struggle right now, and Charlie's here needing help, needing him again, which nothing wrong with that.
I think I'm more fragile than you are.
What? Why?
I don't know, I guess I feel a bit lost.
Nick.
It's nothing.
No.
No.
What do you mean?
You know, not just my sexuality, but my thoughts and feelings, my personality.
Yeah.
I still hide behind that mask sometimes. You know, just laughing and joking with my mates, but never really opening up to anyone. And now I'm thinking about
sort of
uni
Nick being vulnerable and distressed, and Charlie being there for him, and it's lovely and horrible and heartbreaking, but
basically I'm just freaking out.
yep, this is the age of freaking out, I'm afraid, and it never stops.
I think we're both a bit of a mess.
Is it time?
You came here all upset and I made it all about me.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, but I feel
Nick, shut up.
That's relationships. You both unloaded what you needed to, and it's you both listened and were both there for each other, and it's lovely.
I have to if you don't want to.
This is literally the only thing I've been able to think about.
Yes.
Me too.
But I just love them so much. Checking in with each other, making sure the consent is there. Like, it's just beautiful. It's so important, the consent and the checking in on each other and the doing it in a way that makes them both comfortable. And it's so important because they're laughing and having fun. And I do feel like a weird person watching this very private moment between two kids, but like, it's very lovely and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Nick and Charlie in there. And to be honest, my favourite part of this episode was that Nick got to kind of be vulnerable with Charlie again. And he got to tell him some of his struggles and what's going on in his head and what he's been dealing with. Because I think towards the beginning of the show, obviously, they both were able to share, especially when Nick was struggling with coming out and figuring it all out. But recently, for very understandable reasons, you know, when someone you love is having a crisis, you don't want to be like, hey, so I know you're literally having like the worst time of your life right now, but I've been feeling a bit down. Like, that is never something you're going to do. And it wasn't, like, Nick was fine. Like, he could deal with it, he was okay. But now Charlie is doing better, and it is a place where they both can share. You know, Charlie got to rant about his mum and he got to let it all out, and then Nick was able to sort of listen and be there for him. And then when Nick needed to talk about stuff he was going through, he was able to talk through it with Charlie. And I think that is really important and really special, because that's how a healthy relationship should be. You were there for each other when they need it, and sometimes one person might need more support than the other person, and that is totally okay. And then when you just, as long as you're always there for each other. And I think my favorite part of them finally sleeping together was the fact that they were both checking in with each other the whole way. This is a new experience for both of them, a scary but exciting experience for both of them. And you know, Charlie didn't feel comfortable taking his shirt off, and I wasn't looking too closely, but I'm pretty sure he had it on the whole time. And that's fine. And there was just constant checking in and reassurance. And are you okay with this? Is this okay? We can stop. Which is just such a wonderful, healthy first time to have. And I imagine for a lot of teenagers, it is probably a little bit more rushed and not quite as, I don't know, sweet as that was, because they really just made sure they were both okay. Charlie and his mum have a very complicated relationship. They started off in this episode, you know, they had kind of the nicest scene we've seen them have in a very long time, if not at all, where they just spent time together and enjoyed each other's company. I don't think his mum is a bad parent. I think she worries a lot, understandably, and she's not always the best at knowing when to let go a little bit, when to push him, and how to say the things she's feeling. And the brief bit we saw of her parents, I understand why. She's doing pretty well, to be honest, even if she's not doing a great job given her parents. I don't think it's unreasonable for the parent of a 16-year-old, especially a recently turned 16-year-old, to be apprehensive about the idea of that kid going off and having sex. For one thing, it can be scary to just in general think of your kids growing up and doing this adult thing. You can worry that they're not ready. Now, I do think in this instance, you kind of need to look at it like I feel like the dad was, and that is that, well, Charlie is 16. That is the legal age of consent in this country for some reason. I mean, like, I think 16-year-old, 17, like, they together is fine, but, like, 16 being the legal age of consent is so fucking weird to me, because, like, a 24-year-old could sleep with a 16-year-old, they wouldn't technically be doing anything wrong. Unless they were a teacher or something, but, you know, like, it's weird. But regardless, that's not what we're talking about here. Like, I understand her apprehension. I think as a parent, you want to think of your kid as a baby, and when they have been ill recently, when they have been struggling recently, you kind of just want to wrap them up in cotton wool and never let them out of the house. And so them taking this big life step is scary, but you need to take a step back and consider your kid and consider how much you trust them and their judgment. Consider how they are right now. You know, if Charlie, like, was in the treatment center and he was like, hey mom, so Nick's gonna come, can Nick come over for a sleepover here? I would be like, what the fuck, no. But, like, right now he is in an okay place, he's doing great. And then also consider the kid's partner. Do you trust the person that they're going to be doing it with? Do you trust that they'll be safe there? And I think with Nick, yes, as safe as anyone can be in their first time. Both of them were in very good hands. Obviously, it is a weird thing for any parent to contemplate. So I don't think she was thinking what Charlie was thinking she was thinking. I think she was just having some very natural reservations and expressing them very poorly. But I hope in this final episode we get to see Charlie and his mum properly talking, because to be honest, asking your parents if you can have a sleepover with your boyfriend where everybody in the room knows that that would not just be watching a movie and falling asleep next to each other is actually, like, a very big step for a kid, and kind of shows a degree of trust in you that you're willing to ask that and to put it out there that this is happening. Because he very easily could have said, can I sleep over at Tao's, we're having a movie night, and then gone to Nick's. You know, in a lot of TV dramas, that's what he would have done. It's what Tori was basically telling him to do, sneak out. But he was sort of putting it out there, and if anything, you want to be happy that your kid has trusted you, that that's happening, and then you can kind of, when he comes home from Nick's, you can kind of just make sure he seems okay, he doesn't seem upset, like maybe it didn't go very well, maybe Nick wasn't the nice boy we thought he was, like, whatever the problem is. I don't know, but I hope we see a scene where Charlie and his mum talk and communicate. I have no idea if this is the final season or if they're planning on doing more. I don't know what, like, my brain is like, I don't know. But if this is, like, if there's going to be more, I suppose Charlie and his mum can get to a better place in that. But there is no parenting manual, and when you had shit parents yourself, it is very hard to know what to do. So I'm just glad that Charlie and Nick got to talk to each other, and I wish I could pinpoint where they're based in the country to know which of those universities was, if either of them were close, or if both of them were very far apart. And, like, Leeds, he really was looking at the rugby course, which does make me think he wants to go to Leeds. But then the part of me that went to the University of Kent is like, oh my god, me. Yes. Then Elle. Oh, I just want to give her the biggest hug of all time. You know, like I said during the reaction, in some ways you want Heartstopper to just live in an alternate universe where everything is lovely, and everyone can be safe and happy, and there's no homophobia and no transphobia and nothing bad happens. But obviously, I mean, we've known that from some of the kids at school, that is not the world they live in, but it is very much not the world they live in, and this show is being made at a time when we're moving backwards with trans rights, and it is baffling and angering, and I can't even imagine what it must be like to be a trans person in this country right now, and I just hope that anyone who is in this country as a trans person knows that it might feel like everyone is against you, but it isn't. There is a very large proportion of this country that is on your side and believes in you and believes in your right to exist and just be yourself. And I have to believe it's a loud minority, because if I think of it as anything other than that, it's too fucking depressing. And again, I can't even imagine what it is like for trans kids, trans adults. Heartbreaking. But the world we live in right now, in the UK in particular, is not a good place to be trans. So I am glad the show touched on that, even if it kind of broke my heart to see Elle really going through that and experiencing that. And I think Tao's video to her showing how he sees her, to a song that kind of just really enforced she as well. It was just really beautiful to kind of, a little way of just showing Elle how much he loves her and how much he just absolutely adores every part of her. And, you know, like she said, I'm scared you won't understand. And he said, we know, I'll try. That is all you can do as someone who is an ally, or someone who is, you know, not experiencing the thing that's happening. And, you know, in a way, completely different circumstances. But if Tao is ever upset about his dad being dead and wants to talk about that, Elle can't fully understand that because she is a wonderful, loving, living father. But she can try, and she can empathize. And it's sort of, in life, you're gonna meet people, and they're going to matter to you, and you're not going to fully understand their struggles because you haven't lived them, but you're still able to be there for them. So I'm just hopeful that Elle is able to talk to Tao, to her friends, to her parents, to somebody, to let some of that out, because otherwise the pain is just going to get worse and worse. And so I'm happy that they kind of found a way to communicate that with each other in this episode. I'm also glad to see Tara living for herself a little bit more, letting off some of the pressure, because like I said, there is really no pressure. I mean, yes, if you want to get into Oxford, you're going to need to be making sure you're doing like 4 or 5 A-levels, and you're going to make sure you have good extracurriculars and make sure you're doing all this stuff. Like, it is a lot of pressure and a lot of work, but if you're not too fussed about that, then you don't have to. Just live the life for you. You're only going to get to be a kid once, and I hate how much pressure is put on kids to have the most perfect school grades and extracurricular experiences and do all these things, when it's like, yes, encourage them to be the best versions of themselves, give them every opportunity they can in terms of extracurricular. Every kid deserves that, to explore different parts of themselves and to have fun doing different things. But I think it can become a little bit like a school by numbers, like you need to do this in order to achieve this, rather than just letting kids be kids. So I hope we're going to see Tara breathing a little bit more. Now, Charlie being offered head boy, I think is fantastic. I think, yes, a huge part of it obviously is them looking at him and everything he's been through, and that he is a role model in a sense. Like, he doesn't have to do anything to be a role model necessarily, but he is out, and he's a boyfriend, and he's proud, and him being head boy might help other boys in his position not have to go through what he did to get where he's going. And I think I love the moment where the teacher was like thinking of his own childhood self, who would have really loved to look up and see that. It's why shows like this are so important. It's why when Strictly has same-sex couples or same-sex pro dance, it is so important, because I just think of the little kids at home watching and thinking, oh, how I feel is okay. No, it's not bad. It's not weird. I don't have to be scared. And I also think it shows just what a good kid Charlie is. Like, he's a good student, maybe not top of the class, I don't know, but like, he's a good kid all around, and his teachers believe in him, and that's really lovely. I feel like I'm a missing part of the episode. Like, my brain, if I am, I'm so sorry, because I like to try and do a little review discussion of every part of the episode, but I just want to give Charlie and Nick a big hug, and then leave them very, very alone to be very private. So yeah, very good episode. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and thank you so much for watching.